Hey everyone, today we want to talk about staying in your workbook. When we leave a weekend, we get on this high, but a lot of times we just shelve the workbook, whether it's the marriage, whether it's the hope, or whether it's your freedom book. And so the weekends are intensive, they're short and they're packed. You probably didn't get through everything you needed to get through. And so that is the importance of staying in your workbook when you get home and work through it with your wife, or your accountability partner if you're single. That really is the only way we can continue to peel back those layers and uncover some of the roots and lies that we may have. And so if you're married, it's really important that you take probably for the first year or so to make a conscious effort on a daily basis to go through part of the workbook, freedom, hope, or marriage intensive, and cycle those.
I can't overstate how important it is to go through that workbook with your spouse, page by page. When I got back from 4 Days to Freedom, my wife and I took as much time as we needed to walk through that material, and it was so incredibly necessary and helpful. And even now, all of that information is relevant. As an example, I'm going to be going through the list of lies with each of my children, so this information should just not gather dust on a shelf.
Doing it every single day may be difficult. That would be the best method, but try to at least do it every other day. Yeah, if you're single, you want to do it with your accountability partner. If it's your parents, a close friend, someone you work with that you can trust, church member or mentor. The truth is we spent years and decades programming our minds a certain way, thinking thoughts that we shouldn't have been thinking, and it's going to take time to reverse that. So if you're not intentional about keeping what you learned at the weekend at the forefront of your mind, chances are you're going to find yourself slipping back into old patterns and behaviors again. And this happened with my wife and I. You could tell when we were not in our workbooks and when we tried to do things ourselves. Every night or every other night, we would be intentional about going through one of our workbooks, the Freedom, Hope, or Marriage, and covering a certain topic or maybe a page. 10 minutes, 30 minutes, it kind of depends on the conversation. But the point is we were going to cover something and we were going to walk through something to keep it fresh and on the forefront of our minds to help transform how we were thinking. Paul writes in Philippians 1:6 that he who began a good work in you will continue that good work until Christ Jesus return. So keep going through those workbooks and don't just shelve it. It's a tool. You actually have to use it. A hammer doesn't hammer anything if it's just left on the shelf. You have to grab it and take it to the nail and hit the nail with the hammer. It's the only way it's going to get driven in. Same with the workbooks. The only way it's really going to get in here and really to help you change is to stay in the material. And God will be there with you each and every step of the way, like His Word says, sanding those edges, and He'll continue to do that.
For me, it was humbling, very vulnerable. It allowed her to ask questions that I didn't want her to ask, or questions she didn't even know to ask. I found that when I stick it on the shelf and don't go through it, I slip back into my old habits of being selfish and prideful, and it's all about me. When I open this book and go through it, it reminds me of all the areas that I need to work on.
And also married guys, our wives, when they go through Hope, get to go through certain prayers, spiritual prayers that help break certain lies and bondages that they have in their lives that we don't really get to touch much on during our Freedom Weekend. And so let her sit down with you and do this together and figure out where in your life where you need those prayers, because it's going to help break those generational patterns that we've seen, and we also get to pass that down to our children as well. And it also helps lift that spiritual burden off our shoulders that we tend to carry, and God never intended us to carry those burdens. And just to hammer it again, if we're not adamant about staying in our workbooks and working through them, the chances are that you're going to slip back into old behavioral patterns. Romans 12:2 says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That word in the Greek, transformed, the word in the Greek, is the same word for metamorphosis. Caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly. It's a complete transformation of the mind. So think about that when it comes to the areas of your life that you need a complete transformation, a complete metamorphosis about the things that you've thought of before, and change that into a metaphorical, beautiful butterfly. The last thing I'll touch on as well, besides staying in your workbooks, guys, please ask for help. I know, for myself included, that our pride creeps in those areas where we feel like we have to fix everything ourselves and not reach out for help. We as leaders are here to help you guys work through stuff. We've been there, we've seen certain things, and we can fast track this for you, so to speak. But you have to be the ones to reach out for help. Don't get caught up in something that you feel like you can do and prolong pain and conflict longer than it needs to be. So there are certain things that you'll be able to walk through on your own, and that's great. But if you and your wife or a single guy, you get caught somewhere, you get hung up somewhere, don't hesitate to ask for help. Just remember, myself and the other leaders are here for you. Be blessed. Thank you for watching this. And once again, we've created a YouTube channel where all these videos will be posted to for reference, for easy access, and you can find that link in the description of the group.